Welcome to the October 2023 Star Wars Canon Update. Last month we got the Ahsoka finale, a new Kira novel, the start of the High Republic Phase 3, 9 other comic issues, and a children's book, so let's dive in. The finale of Ahsoka brought zombie stormtroopers into canon, which is the last thing I expected to see connected to Thrawn back when we first learned he was coming to live action. But having zombies, witches, and Force ghosts was a pretty fun way to kick off October. For future story implications, Thrawn and Ezra make it back to the main galaxy, while Ahsoka, Sabine, Baylan, and Shin are all stuck in Peridia, and Baylan is seemingly after something connected to Mortis, which is exciting. If you're watching this video, I assume you've already seen Ahsoka, so I'll move on, but if you want my in-depth thoughts, I'll link to them in the cards. Crimson Climb by E.K. Johnston is the new Kira novel. I enjoyed it. I liked seeing Johnston write something more dark, which just came off as more fun than the Padme novels in my opinion. We see what happened to Kira immediately after her capture at the start of Solo, how she joined Crimson Dawn and rose through the ranks right up until she meets Darth Maul. It also helps explain the structure of the 5 major criminal syndicates at this time, which could possibly link back to the Star Wars Outlaws video game next year. Again, if you want to see my in-depth thoughts on this book, I'll link to my review in the cards. If you're interested in reading or listening to it for free, you can pick it up by following the link in the description or by visiting audibletrial.com/Star Wars Explained. Jedi Brave in Every Way was the children's book written by Charles Soule and his daughter Rosemary. It was very cute, kind of like the Young Jedi Adventures on Disney+. It's nice to see the High Republic era during a peaceful time, you know, before everything is on fire. If you're a parent looking for something light and fun to read to a younger Star Wars fan, this is a great choice. Tales from the Death Star was a collection of spooky stories surrounding the Death Star by Cavan Scott. As far as canon goes, I would classify them as in-universe myths, but they were good myths. I especially loved the one about the Ghost Squadron, but all of the tales were enjoyable, and I really liked the art. Fico Ossio's work on the Wild Squadron was especially good. This was a fun read for October. The first issue of Shadows of Starlight was an awesome introduction back into the High Republic era. This is the first bit of Phase 3, and it immediately answered a ton of questions fans have had since the end of Phase 1. Most notably, who was the mysterious figure Yoda brought back to learn more about the Nameless? It's Aslan Rel from Phase 2, and he does work alongside Yoda to learn more, until he sabotages efforts by crashing a ship into a city to prevent the Jedi from ever reaching the source of the Nameless. He is chilling. But the series also tied into other Star Wars stories and started answering questions like why the Jedi lightsabers became less ornate and why they began to be more focused on the core worlds than the Outer Rim and the Frontier. It's a perfect mixture of new lore and just plain good storytelling. Dark Droids issue 3 is still weird. As a Star Wars story, I'm still not sure I'm into it, but I have to admit the imagery and Luke Ross's art are pretty great. The main Scourge droid covered in spikes looks intimidating and scary, and so does his conquered Star Destroyer, Scourge 1. But there is so much going on, and the Scourge is able to be everywhere at once. It lacks focus unless it concentrates, but the issue also jumps all over the place, so none of the storylines felt completely satisfying to me. I think the attempt to take over Darth Vader was my favorite part, which of course fails, and I love the line from the Scourge saying, "I may have made a mistake." This is all kind of fun to read through around Halloween, but like I said, it's really weird. D-Squad issue 2 is fun as long as you go into it knowing it's meant to be a comedy. I don't think I was quite expecting that in the first issue, but I'm mostly on board now. We're still just going through a who's who of famous droids in Star Wars, now with 000, who actually works with R2-D2 to save BT-1 from the droid corruption. But then IG-88 and 4LOM both show up to take on bounties on all 3 droids. It's very chaotic, but silly, and 000 is always good for some dark laughs. Star Wars issue 39 continued Lando and Lobot's story. They quickly and easily escape the Rancor, but Lobot is taken and infected by the Scourge. Lando almost had time to save Han before having to rush out of the palace, but now he is dead set on saving Lobot. I'm still enjoying this part of the Dark Droid story. The Lobot angle gives it a lot of heart. Bounty Hunters issue 39 followed up on Valance after the cyborg was infected with the droid virus, or whatever we're calling this thing, and he easily defeated all of his former friends, even Dirge, which was fun to see. The droid hive mind takes him away, and Tonga plans to seek him out and kill him, delivering on a former promise to Valance if his memories couldn't be restored. Right now, this is the series that feels most like an old Legends comic to me, and I mean that in a good, nostalgic way. Darth Vader issue 39 saw Vader fighting against an infected Octuptara tri-droid. He had to dig down deep to find the source of his hate, the person he hates the most, himself. Then he was able to regain control over the Force, and then he seemed to hint that he was gonna go confront Palpatine. Again, which just feels like we're going in circles. I know that's the way of the Sith, and I think we're meant to see Vader constantly failing to defeat Sidious through brute force, when actuality it's an act of love that will finally win the fight. So I get it, but it feels like another version of the same story. Dr. Aphra issue 37 felt like a good culmination of a lot of the foundations of Dark Droids so far. The Scourge takes over a Tag Corporation ship, forcing Aphra and Domina and their allies to send it crashing into a moon while they escape. Meanwhile, Magna Tolvin is captured by droids who are able to infect her cybernetics. One of the final frames with her standing alongside Valance and Lobot was pretty chilling. The Scourge moving from droids into people is a good development. The Mandalorian Season 2, Issue 5 was the episode The Jedi in Fast Forward, as usual. It was fun to revisit this so soon after Ahsoka ended, though. The second issue of the Obi-Wan Kenobi adaptation also didn't add anything new to the story if you're looking for that. For story of the month, I think people are going to expect me to pick Ahsoka, but as a live-action show, it got plenty of attention. So my pick is Shadows of Starlight, because that comic ruled, especially if you're a High Republic fan. But that's it for October. In November, we're getting more episodes of Young Jedi Adventures, the first High Republic Phase 3 novel, The Eye of Darkness, and 12 new comic issues, including the start of the main High Republic line. The Canon update will return in early December to cover all those stories. Until then, please like this video, subscribe to the channel, follow us on our socials, and consider checking out our Patreon page. As always, thanks for watching, and may the Force be with you.